So good morning, good morning, good morning. And welcome to my stream. What can I say? You got to get here first. Because reality is real. And it's just unfortunate that life, liberty, and whatever comes at a price. Here's my theme song, y'all. Enjoy. Good morning. My city on fire. Oh, just a minute, y'all. Hey, what's going on? Oh, no, not that early, because you'd be up at 7. Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah, he got it. And then I read it, and they didn't even, they half-assed did an investigation. They really didn't do it. Everything is so messed up right now. And they act like they didn't have to do an investigation, but they really did. Because we're waiting because they're doing an investigation here. Yeah. Everything's okay. John's not coming. Well, I'm coming. I'm flying in. I'll tell you when I get my ticket next week. Yeah, what's on the weekend? I don't even know, but as long as you get your ticket 7 days in advance, it's supposed to be. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be no more than 100, 150. That's it. No, that might be. It's $49 one way if you get a special, and if I get on that one that you don't break no clothes, just a backpack, that one's $50 or $30. So I'll find one, but I'm coming all the way into Sacramento. I'm not going to go to Oakland or anywhere like that. I hear you. All right. Anyways, Laura's supposed to be here this week, so we'll see. I'm on my little podcast. Yeah. You ain't got that home warranty? You got to get the home warranty. Well, hold on a second. I know what happened. Okay. Because it's $70 a month. Or $69 a month, and you ain't never had no insurance that canceled, so you could get it. And first American home warranty. I'll give you the referral, so I can get $50. Yeah, I'm a text it to you because it is good. And then it's just the monthly thing, and then every time they come out, it's $70 or whatever. It's not bad, and they fix whatever's going on. It don't have to be your house. If it doesn't matter what it is, you know what I'm saying? All right, I'm gonna send it to you. All right, love you. Bye bye. Okay, I'll put my show back on. Oh, here we go. Well, I know what happened. It's still on those damn headbuds. I turn them off. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth off. There we go. I'm just trying to be better. There we go. I'm sorry. No. This is my nephew's song, City on Fire. By Yvonne Harden Slade. It's my theme song. My city on fire. My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Nah, there's no forever. We on the search for better. We on the search for better. We on the search for better. My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm
just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Learn there's no forever. We on a search for better. We on a search for better. For better. I don't think they mad that I said something. Ugly nigga for ransom. But my brother's alright. I'm trying to be a provider. Where I'm from is alright. Safer to keep silent. It's hard for me to choose you. Scare my life would abuse you. My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Learn there's no forever. We on a search for better. We on a search for better. For better.
And I can't wait to tell my mama that I made it. Man, I'm tired of the stressing and I'm tired of this fake shit. I see the vision, say there ain't no being lazy. Gotta wake up early morning, yeah, the money never waiting. My mama showed them different, we ain't worried about you bitches. Stack your dreams, travel far forever, she mentioned. I pray my love a better way in 7 days. Cause the people in my city really steady, acting shady. R.I.P. dope boy, ain't get to make it through. Man, I'm truly scarred, why it had to be you. Do it on your own, now you have to lose your life. We was just gonna make it out, see it back.
On fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. Learn there's no forever. We on a search for better. We on a search for better. For better.
Keep it real, I don't know who to trust. They love you when you down, but they hate you when you up. How you my brother, but you stealing from me, blood? I just peep shit, now I gotta like a trust. Shit been welling on me, though for real. Ever since my brother died, mama said I need to chill. Baby, take your time, I promise you gotta heal. I just push her to the side, but I still feel it still. I've been hurting, broke past, got me spurging, goon mask, I've been purging, Glizzy cocked back, got my mind set on murder. Got my mind set on murder.
My city on fire. I'm sorry I fight ya. I'm just trying to be better. Too cold for a sweater. There's no forever. We on a search for better. We on a search for better. For better.
And that's the song. Because, we are searching for better. And that's just a real conversation. And they had real conversations on Washington Journal this morning. They were talking about, Lord, what were they talking about? Public education. And they were talking about, this thing that's going on with this young man who was unalived, and he really was. And his life was taken. But, he's out there spewing negativity. And I'm just trying to understand. The harvest you reap is from the harvest you sow. And you have to understand the seeds of deception are really real. Yes, he was. Because everybody has a right to believe. He wasn't a college graduate. He wasn't a scholar. He was a person that was being brought up. That everybody has an opinion too. And that was the issue, is that he had an opinion that someone disagreed with. But it's a level of rhetoric that is going on in America. And, lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. But when I see these people taking down these young African-American people, it's unacceptable. Because they don't treat lions, tigers, or bears in that manner. So therefore, that's a lot of aggression for no reason. College was created. And I have some skills. I took some skills training when I was growing up. I learned how to I got my cosmetology license. It's not brainwashing. Hell, you have to understand that all these colleges were created as we were growing up. It's not like college was just there. This is what America created. And you have to understand one more thing, is that it's the universities and colleges that created the Constitution. the scholars. And as they created the Constitution, there's only one Constitution. There's only one. And universally, all of the states have to do what? Live by the Constitution. Now, everybody's supposed to be reaching for the stars. And what the fuck happened to the stars? What happened to reaching? Because quite frankly, I see them reaching to the bottom. It's not about them, this one guy, because understand that Malcolm and Martin and Medgar and all of, even Nipsey Hussle, come on, Nipsey was real. But anybody who's been able to move someone from one side of the road to the other is not here. And that's just real. So we all have to be careful in how we think and what we do. Because Facebook certainly went in my Facebook account. And you know, and they're giving some money because they were too restrictive. I hope I get some money. But it really doesn't matter. Because what matters is that I don't think that well, Clarence, is that a joke? Because I heard that joke earlier. Because Kendrick can move people. Clarence got some pussy. So what do you want me to say? And every morning when Clarence wakes up, he wakes up to a white woman and she's the apple of his eye. And Kendrick is saying, turn the TV off. So everybody has a choice. That's a joke. Mm-hmm. And Kamala's mother is not even black. And her daddy, he wasn't an American. And Kamala was always surrounded by young white men. And that's just real. How do you think she became the Attorney General of the state of California? And she's beautiful. She's just mixed race. And there's a whole lot of just mixed race people in America. So what should I think? People like pussy. And some women just love dick. And that's just real. And they will do anything to make sure that they do. People like her in California. I'm going to tell you one thing about her. She's efficient. And so I'm going to tell you one thing about her. She's efficient. So she was reviewing all those cases, you know, those criminal cases, and she made people get real sentences. She lost because pimping ain't easy. And the system is broken. And what is a democracy if it doesn't have the people? So there is no Democratic, no Republic. There's nothing. The republics just say, this is your territory, boo. And I live in the Republic of Nevada. And wherever you live in, it's your republic. And then the democracy says, oh yeah, we're going to take all those people and all those republics, and they're going to work together, and they're going to make life better. And we just going to have this one huge melting pot, and everybody in there is getting ready to have some opportunity. And I said, really? But then they start making the rules and trying to figure, see, it was always easier when people could agree just to agree. They didn't have to disagree. And so in California, when they made that Proposition 209, they said, you ain't got to look at nobody based on their race or group or significant issues. No, you don't have to include that they're black and whatever. But I'm saying I'm looking at black people and how they were brought here, and how so many people nowadays, they've made it normal, don't have families. Either you have a mom or you have a dad, but it's not a family kind of thing. And here in Nevada, they just don't even accommodate anything for families, nor do they accommodate anything for the children, because they've changed education totally. It's social emotional learning. What is that? What does the government have to do with families? Well, this is America, boo. It's a country. It's born in the USA. And guess what? The Constitution says that every state's going to get some money back because everybody's got to pay. It just doesn't really matter. Everybody got to pay. If you work, you're going to pay. And you're going to pay some taxes. And all those taxes that go to the federal government, well, some people live to get them and some people never live to get them back. But then if you just an entertainer, boo, you're going to pay some money. And all of that money is calculated based on the number of people, families that live in a community. They just live in the area. Taxes ain't never going to stop. How do you think Born in the USA works? So the money comes back in the millions of dollars. Hell, Nevada had $780 million just sitting on the table. Couldn't use it. Why? Oh, they just couldn't use it because they couldn't follow the regulatory guidance from the federal government. And I don't care if the blue states are paying taxes, they're getting a whole lot of money. They really is getting a whole lot of money. And Mr. Bojangles just danced until he couldn't dance anymore. But when he died, all that money went to the federal government. It's not about that, boo. It's about oversight and the lack of oversight. Everybody gotta know. You know that song? People get ready for the train that's coming. You don't need no ticket to just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the leaders calling. Well, hell, you gotta praise the Lord and know that we have to take care of the youngest and the neediest of children across the nation. And how do you do that? Well, there's allocations that go to every state. And in those allocations, well, we created things like from working together. You get it? We the people. And some of these services are awesome, and I'm not lying. My son, my youngest one, he had the most awesome education. And he did. He was at Science and Technology in Sacramento, California. And when he started going there, he had to do a presentation. He had to learn how to do a presentation. I had to learn how to do a presentation. Hell, I helped him. He did it. And he had to stand in front of the school and do his pitch. But by the time, every year he had to do one from the 7th until the 12th grade. Hey, it's possible. I'm just trying to understand, what are we talking about? Public education is mandatory, and each one of those children are included in the count when the money comes back. Now, matters if you know you're entitled to something. Because if you didn't know you was entitled to anything, ain't shit coming your way. Because failure is an option. Don't you understand why they created that letter grade F? It just says fraud, failure, whatever. It doesn't represent success. That's what it doesn't represent. And so we have all of that's what Obama created the Every Child Succeed Act. And under that Every Child Succeed Act, if you didn't pass high school with at least an 8th grade level, you too could get what? A vocational educational thing, some kind of little vocational educational ticket where you could go to trade school, CTE. And we used to, when I was in high school, have auto mechanics. We had, cooking. We had everything, typing. We had everything. People could actually learn a skill. What is past grades? What is a grade anyway? What is the purpose of a letter grade anyway? When you could get an A or an F, and that shit don't mean shit. That's just reality. But when you start understanding, it doesn't matter, because it matters what the local people have accepted. And whose problem that is it that the kids are not learning? Because who's showing up to ensure that those jobs are relevant? Nobody shows up. Nobody wants to do that level. Unless you got a child in the system. Now see, well, what are parents? People who screw. That's it. didn't even understand it was an obligation to the consequences of having sex. And that's where the Bible comes in, or that's where families come in, or that's whatever. Well, who are parents? Boom, boom, boom. Just human capital. And people have babies, and nobody told them anything when they was in high school. They just hit that ass. That's right. Makers of what? Having sex. That's it. And that's why we have so many people that are just unaliving their children. They don't know nothing about parenting. Hell, they didn't grow up in a family. What are those? And you can look around, and I can promise you, I don't know many couples that are raising their children. I was so happy that my sons have made friends with their classmates. And some of these classmates have 4 or 5 kids. But guess what? They're together with the woman, and they're taking care of the children, and they have support from the family. So it's happening now. But it didn't always used to happen. There you go. Know that. But know this, that so many people are not where they should be, because trials and tribulations are real. And you will be troubled and faced with issues and wondering, why are you always faced with the same shit? Because you got a job to do. It's your job. And whatever the universe provided to you to share, to help embolden someone else, well, that's your storehouse. So pay your tithes forward. Pay it forward. Help somebody so they don't have to continue to make the same mistakes. Because pimping ain't easy. But you say GT or GD, somebody's just got to do it. And it happens every day. But when you listen to the music, you understand. Because we were told to get ready. Let people get ready for the train that was coming. Or we sat on the dock of the bay watching the tide roll away. And we did that. And now everything is changing. They were talking about digital marketing and how these trends actually work and the negativity. And I never looked at this as something negative. I love the fact that my son could use a cell phone and learn how to use Google Classroom, learn how to use Google Search, learn how to use the program called Alex, because it was an opportunity for him to improve his math skills. Most people don't even understand there are so many resources out there. And for children who are kinesthetic, meaning that they got to touch something to learn something, or they have children that are just visual learners, they have to be able to see it. And then there are children that learn better if they hear it. And so therefore, processing is everything. But when we didn't understand that they had already did what? They had already, made it a perfected kind of thing. It was perfection. And that's just real. Here we are. Let me see if this committee hearing is still going on, because I was listening to it and then I stopped. Let me see.
Well, I won't go too deep into that, but it was a pretty lengthy back and forth process.
And in the end,
the board of that organization said they really couldn't change because it would be detrimental to their recruitment philosophies and detrimental to their enrollment efforts of their members.
These are the colleges and universities.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'd now like to recognize ranking member from North Carolina, Ms. Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank again the witnesses for being here. When students sign up for college, they shouldn't be left guessing.
And you have to pay attention
guessing how much aid they'll get, guessing whether tuition will jump from one year to the next, guessing if they'll be able to stay enrolled at all. But the biggest challenge, I think, for students is covering the gap between the money, the aid that they receive from the institutions and what they're able to pay. I spent 40 years teaching as a college professor, and so I do understand some of this. But I know that kind of uncertainty pushes students to the breaking point. Some take on loans that they can't repay, others drop out, not because they couldn't do the work, but because they couldn't make the math work. Now, let's put the numbers in perspective. The maximum Pell Grant today is $7,395. And in most states, including North Carolina, where tuition and fees at a community college average just about $2,300, that's more than enough to cover tuition. But what that tells us is simple. Community colleges are doing a lot with very little. They're providing a rigorous post-secondary education at a fraction of the cost of four-year institutions, but they need more federal support to keep doing more while staying affordable. And yet, despite these low tuition costs, about 12% of community college students nationwide are still taking out student loans. And that tells us affordability isn't just about tuition. It's about housing. It's about food and transportation. It's about childcare and the full cost of attendance. So while today's hearing is about transparency, we can't stop there. Students don't just need price tags. They need predictability. They need affordability, and they need Congress to stand up for them and not pull the rug out with cuts to Pell and federal aid. And let me just turn to our witness, Ms. Latinen. Many students are concerned that during their time in college, their aid and therefore their cost of attendance can change dramatically. You've written about price guarantees versus affordability guarantees. So could you answer, what is a price guarantee and why is it different from an affordability guarantee? And what considerations should Congress keep in mind if we explore an affordability guarantee?
Thank you so much for the question. So I think price guarantees are trying to get at this question that you talked about, which is predictability. Higher ed is a super weird product, and that you buy it multiple times. It's not like you just buy it once and you're paying, you sort of put it on layaway and you're paying the same price over time. The costs can dramatically change from year to year. And we need to stop that. We need to make sure that those prices are predictable. And I think that's what the price guarantee is trying to do. And so I understand that. I think it's absolutely worth exploring. I think there is some caution in what we have seen in certain states so far, which is in some cases, states have frozen the tuition for a certain group of students only to really raise tuition for the other students, or including out-of-state students. And it's not just raising tuition for them, it's recruiting more of them so the schools can get more money. So we have to make sure as we're designing a program like that we're not shifting costs onto students. Okay. But either way, that's not an affordability guarantee. And students need to make sure that they can afford to go to college.
Thank you. In July, Congress passed H.R. 1, which cut federal student aid and safety net programs. And students tell me that they need more aid, not less. And while transparency is important, what good is transparency if we're just telling students they can't afford their dream? So, Ms. Latinen, as these student aid cuts take effect in 2026, what should students and families be aware of when making decisions about how to pay for college, from tuition to indirect costs? And what should we know about how H.R. 1 will affect colleges' abilities to address rising costs?
I mean, I think they need to know that it's probably going to be more expensive for some students and that it's going to be harder for low-income students to achieve some of the things that they've been wanting to achieve. And I think we're going to see in certain places, like for medical education, for example, I think it's going to be harder for students who don't come from wealthy families to be able to afford to go to medical school and become doctors.
Thank you. Let me move on quickly. So given...
Now, see, does that make any sense to you? They are going to make it more difficult.
The tuition at community colleges is often below the maximum Pell.
My colleague from Florida, Mr. Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I approached this hearing today with a heavy heart. I chaired higher education in Florida for 2 years when I was in the legislature, and frankly, given what we've seen over the last week, I believe that higher education is fundamentally broken. You know, when I hear professors making the kinds of comments that have been made from departments that I don't even know why they exist, like queer studies, I wonder, frankly, if we shouldn't be having this debate at all because the federal government should be exiting the higher education system and say, you guys are on your own, good luck, make it work, but it's time for the taxpayer to exit the system altogether.
And that's not true, because local cities and local states Stephen Shapiro is doing something. I don't know what he's doing. Let me see what he's doing. I mean, we're so connected, and then we are not. I think we just need to finish hearing the committee meeting. Well, it's still live. Let me see. Go all the way down to it, and it's still live.
Success.
Here we go.
Yet the Trump administration has ripped away those resources, slashed grants for students, and overall made college more expensive with provisions in the big ugly law. It's true that colleges and universities must work towards greater price transparency for students and families. But let me be clear. If we truly want to deliver on our promises to students, then we must take a comprehensive look. Not only transparency, but the broader issues facing higher education today, including high tuition costs, crushing loan debt, and campus safety. You know, I mentioned in my earlier comments about the gaps that students face and that families face, but we've got to figure out a way how families fill those gaps.
What's that?
I was taking a survey, and it said, rate your stress level from married, single to divorced. I was like,
well, what is your stress level? Shit, this the worst. I mean, it's not like it's not like it's. I mean, people just have the ability.
Married or divorced? What's your stress level? I said, that ain't even a stress level.
No, it's not a stress level measurement tool, is it?
I guess mine's single.
I mean, but everybody has a different perception.
That's supposed to be the least. I said that was supposed to be the least amount of stress.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, it is what it is. Going back to
with aid and scholarship that they don't have to pay back, and I can tell you that it's a problem for one size doesn't fit all. And I know that closing these gaps for first generation college students, as I was, those are very challenging, especially students who attend our HBCUs. And so while I appreciate
but it's really not that. It really is holding local states accountable. Back to the hearing.
Discussion today in this hearing, it's time that we face reality. College affordability will not be magically solved by bullying institutions into providing transparency while leaving institutions on their own with no help from the department due to recent rifts. But we must fight back against the Trump administration's unfettered attacks on higher education. We've got to work with institutions to prioritize affordability and success for all students, not just the wealthy and well-connected. And thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to our witnesses today. I yield back.
Not just the
Thank
wealthy.
you. This has been a very enlightening hearing, and I want to thank everyone that's sitting here. I think about growing up, the concept of college, what it meant, and I think we've lost our way along the way. It used to be where higher education was a legacy, and I'm part of that legacy, by the way. My grandfather was a third grade dropout. My dad went to war, the GI Bill, went to Ohio State, got his PhD in agronomy, was 40 years and a college professor, very successful entrepreneur. His legacy is me sitting here, going to the University of Miami, and now here in Congress. That's the way it has always been in the past. Education was supposed to be our gateway. HBUs, during the days of segregation, during the time I grew up, their mission, very simply, was to produce the greatest minds ever to go out and represent their communities, to command respect, because that's what the goal was. And at that time, black communities, HBCUs graduated more, a higher percentage of black men than any other race out there. So, from that point to where we are now means we've lost the mission, and it's time for us to bring back some of that ethical.
Right, because we have to hold states accountable for what? The lack of benefit to all people, and especially for the homeless. Why do we have so many homeless people? Why do we have that when we have the Department of Health and Human Services? Uh-oh. Republicans scrambled to kick only whatever off the committee because they don't want to talk about Mr. Kirk. But I'm going to tell you, you see, the problem is, the real issue is that public education and the that's real. Let's go back to the committee meeting because he's sitting up there legislating, and I didn't even pay attention to his name. But the deal is he's talking about how he came in, but creating a pathway for African Americans to work in their communities with a benefit, you know. And for well, I think that I'm gonna go for now. But I thank everybody for coming on in. But I would, you know, implore you, no more surprises. Reforming college pricing for students and family. It is on the House Committee of Education, and y'all could log in. It's under workforce development. All the states have the same obligation to the people, we the people. But I think the negativity around the oversight or the management of so many people who may look like me is problematic in America because I can't be tamed. You understand what I'm saying? I've already been raised. And I suggest you get ready because the train has arrived. So until we meet again, I say like, subscribe, and share. But please follow my